everyone, this is Alisha Costanzo and welcome back to my channel. I have a new space right next to my desk where it's clear and I'm so excited. Granted, I had to move a little bit, just a little bit of stuff, but I cleaned my office of all my portfolios, so I now have a mini filming space. And since the boys are out of the house, let's talk about some books. So, I did 10 rolls for Bookopoly this month, and I've got way more than 10 books on my list. Which shouldn't be surprising, right, at this point. Crazy. But so far in September, I've read about 10. And I've started to notice, even though I've been chipping away at my 20 before 2020, that I am nowhere near close enough to finish these all by the end of the month, unless I want to cram them all in like the last month. So, I'm aiming to get some of those off my list. That is the number one priority for October. However, I also am participating in a few readathons. Like, I don't do readathons every single time, usually 3 or 4, and I have 3 this month because let's keep up with this ridiculousness, right? So the first I'm going to be participating in is Hocus Pocus on the Undead team, and I'm sorry guys, I can never remember who hosts most of these things, but I will absolutely link them in the description box below. And they have 4 prompts for this, which shouldn't be too darn hard. And then I am also participating in Pageathon, which is pretty much points for the number of pages you read, points for finishing books, points for extra bonus prompts, like having black or orange on the cover, having an autumn on the cover, having an autumn related word on the cover, and so on. And this also helps me keep track of my books for wrap-ups that I haven't been doing. I should probably do a quarterly wrap-up since I didn't do one in June, July, August, and September. Well, that's 4. That's more than a quarter. But you know, maybe like wrap up a little bit of my favorite books from the last 4 months. Maybe I'll do that. Anyways, last readathon I am participating in, Books on Lala put out, which is Fortnite Frights Bingo. And I just listed all the prompts. I don't plan on getting every single square. There's no way I could. I might try to double up and stuff like that. But my main priority, again, is checking off those ones from my 20 before 2020. Which I had started checking off and then I added more to. Because I'm ridiculous. Alright. So, let's get into roll number 1. So we're back with my regular Bookopoly board. I'm so sorry that that's upside down. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe we can just have the board like this. And it can just be. So I'm going to do 8 to 10 rolls as per usual. I don't remember where I was 2 months ago, so I'm going to start at go and move on from there. Roll number 1. 5. Nonfiction. And you have a nonfiction I've been wanting to read. So roll number 1 was nonfiction. I chose Betty White's If You Ask Me. One of the reasons I chose this is because it's under 3 hours. It's an audiobook. It's under 3 hours. And that just seemed the best way to fit in all of the books that I wanted to fit in to my TBR for October. Plus, I love Betty White. Like, Betty White is the woman I want to be when I'm old. Like, I want to be her now. I'm an Italian grandmother inside. Like, that's what I identify as, because when people come over, I like to feed them. I like to send them away with food. I'm very Italian grandmother-esque, like, qualities. I just want to hug people, and yeah. So, I'm going with Betty White. I don't really have any idea what this is about, other than it being a nonfiction memoir type book from Betty White, and that's all I really need to know. I think that's all anybody really needs to know about a Betty White book, is that it's Betty White. And I love her, so I'm going to listen to it. Let's go on to roll number 2. Roll number 2. 10. 5-star prediction. Roll number 2 was a 5-star prediction. I have so many 5-star predictions, it is quite ridiculous. But I chose Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nan, I think is how you pronounce her name. I have no idea. I don't ever look these up beforehand. I should have that respect, but I'm just like, my life is too much of this for me to get a handle on shit sometimes. But I don't even know what the book is about. Do I have anything to look up that with? No. From what I understand, if this is the correct one, is that there are girls being collected for a king in a harem, and there's this special 8th one that is a lesbian, and like shit ensues. That's my understanding of it. So, it sounded interesting enough when everybody else talks about it. If you don't know about this book already, go look it up on Goodreads, because honestly, I've heard about it everywhere. And it's something that I've been wanting to read, so it is on my list for my 5-star prediction.
Rule number 3. 10. Erotica.
Rule number 3 is erotica. I will always take a good erotica book. Because, I mean, who doesn't like sex? I mean, there are people who don't like sex. Not a conversation I'm going to get into. Anyways, I chose one of the books that I have picked for my previous 10 chapter challenges, where I read one chapter of 10 books off my Kindle to see if I'm going to keep them, which one I'm going to read for the month, etc. Well, was it last month or the month before? Anyways, King of Lies, Whitney G. It was interesting. There was a kidnapping, like seriously kidnapping wife situation, and I want to know what happens. I read the first chapter and I want to know what happens. So that is my erotica choice for my Bookopoly roll. Let's go on to number 4.
Rule number 4. 9. A retelling.
Number 4 is a retelling. Now this is a book that's been on my 20 before 2020 list, and I actually don't really know anything about it since I put it on the list. Like, I haven't gone to revisit what it's about, but it's the Star-Touched Queen. How do you say this name? Roshani Chosky. I know it's a retelling of some mythology, some Middle Eastern mythology, and I'm into that, and I can't wait to read it because I love retellings that are not just strictly like Disney or European, etc. I really like different types of mythology, so I have a feeling I'm going to be really into this. I did study quite a bit of Hinduism and Buddhism when I took my honors courses in college at the same time as I was taking yoga. Like, we got to explore some of those religions and mythologies, so totally into reading something new in that regard. Yeah, I don't really know anything about it otherwise. So let's go on to roll number 5.
Rule number 5. Mystery thriller.
Roll number 5 is a mystery thriller, and I originally had a Michael Connelly book in here because, let's be honest, I'm reading like one of those a month from the Bosch series, and that's my mystery thriller usually for the month. But because I'm doing Hocus Pocus, I'm going to use the group book, which is The Cemetery Boys by Heather Brewer. And that is going to be my mystery thriller. From what I understand of this, there's a young boy who moves. He's got no way to get out of moving with his father. He meets this group of kids, and there's this leader who's trying to get them to kill people, from what I understand. So, sounds interesting. Again, it's the group book for the Hocus Pocus Undead group, and it's on my list. I'm going to listen to it, so yeah.
Rule number 6. YA fantasy.
Roll number 6. YA fantasy. I will always, if you know me, take a YA fantasy because that and a new adult fantasy, urban fantasy, paranormal stuff, horror, like that is my genre. If you can kick some sexy stuff in there too, I will absolutely take it, which is why it's more paranormal, because that usually has sexy stuff. Anyways, YA fantasy. This is another book that's been on my list for a while, and it is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rodgerson. This is also going to be my prompt for Billy in the Hocus Pocus-a-thon, which is to read a book with a morally great character, and I spelled it with an A because I don't live in Canada, Australia, or Britain. In America, we spell it gray with an A. Sorry, that's the editor and me wanting to teach you something. Just so you know. I don't really know much about this other than I've heard about it for a long time, and I keep seeing the book, and I want to read it because the cover's freaking beautiful, and I know there's probably going to be some angsty stuff, some magic stuff, and a journey to go on, and some fighting, and that sounds exactly like my kind of book, so it's on my list to read. Maybe Editor Me or something will fill us in on what some of these books are about, and then again, maybe not. So, Enchantment of Ravens is going to be my prompt for YA Fantasy in Billy Hocus Pocus.
Rule number 7. Continue a series.
Rule number 7 is to continue a series. And so I'm going to continue reading Bosch, because I already have the book on hold. And the next 2 books on hold. Because that world just sucks me in so hard. And that sounded so naughty. I'm sorry. But I'm going to read book 4, because I just finished book 3 yesterday. It's going to be The Last Coyote by Michael Connelly. So, book 4 Bosch. Again, we're just going to be following the same badass detective in a new crime that he's solving, a murder, because he's a homicide detective, a murder detective. Yeah, I don't continue a series. I will. I love series, so we'll get to that.
Roll number 8. Another nonfiction. Something about me getting double rolls this month.
Well, number 8 is another nonfiction. Now, I don't read a whole lot of nonfiction in general. I do want to read more. This will actually get me past my goal for the year for my nonfiction. And I decided, since I am finishing my anthology, it should be up by my birthday, October 1st. If you didn't know, this is my birthday month. Libra. Got a Libra in my flower right there. I am working on marketing, so I'm going to listen to Crushing It, by Gary something. Vaynerchuk? It looked cool. It was rather short, and it's talking a lot about social media, branding, and that type of thing. Since that is the path of my career at the moment, I'm going to read that book and let you know how it is.
Roll number 9. Another 5-star prediction.
In roll number 9, we've got another double land spot. I don't know how you phrase that. Another 5-star prediction. The first physical book on my TBR is going to be The Host by Stephanie Meyer. I've had this book for so long. My husband read it. It's a freaking chunk, which is probably why I haven't read it, if I'm being honest. But it's on my 20 before the end of 2020. So this piece is going on. I'm going to be listening to it while I read, because usually when I'm intimidated by a book, I'd rather listen to it. And a lot of the times when I don't think I can actually read a book, when I have trouble reading an actual book, which happens sometimes, listening to it will get me through it. So we'll see how I do with this massive piece. How long are you? 619 pages. I've read longer. The Michael Connelly book was 500 pages, so I mean, I can do this. But yeah, I like how there's that little foiling there. If you don't know what this is about, essentially, I believe there are aliens that invade human bodies, and there's one that doesn't bend to the will. I've read books similar to that, but with the devil or demons and things like that, so, and it's a bit of a romance. Again, my husband liked it. I hope I like it. So, yeah, that's gonna be my 5-star prediction. We'll see.
And my final roll, number 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dark fantasy.
So roll number 10. I cannot believe I didn't get any doubles. 10 rolls with no doubles. I'm not gonna complain. But this one was a dark fantasy. And so again, I chose another one off my 20 before 2020 list, and that is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I've heard so many things about this book. Again, no idea what it's about offhand. I believe there's going to be some fighting and there's some fantasy stuff in it. Hi. What are you doing? Turd nugget. He's a turd nugget. But yeah, I don't know anything about it. It's a fantasy. Sounds like something I'd be into. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. Gonna read it. And then I have a few more books after my rolls to fit in with my Hocus Pocus prompt. And the first one is going to be The Way of Shadows by Brent. This is another one off my 20 before 2020 list. And it actually is not going on that readathon at all. So it's just another one that I have waiting, audiobook-wise, that I'm going to read. I also have Dark Tower, which is on my 20 before 2020 list to read. And again, I'm going to be reading it via audiobook. And I have my cat behind my camera, like a little doofus. Hi, Frodo. He likes to be in these TBRs, and I don't know why. You can't chew on that. The Dark Tower by Stephen King. Spoiler, I'm not a Stephen King fan. I love his movies, love the TV shows, love his dark mind, hate his writing. So I'm going to listen to that to see if I can't get through that story, because it's been recommended to me by one of my former students and friends for so long that I need to read it. So it's on my list. We'll see if I get to it this month. I hope so. Next, for Hocus Pocus, this one actually is The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. I'm getting through her series. This is another Fae series, and I don't really need to know much about what the books are about because it's Holly Black and she's one of my favorite authors. But this is going to be my book about family. She always writes about families. I always hate the families, which I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to it, Holly. Let's get after it. And that's the Binks prompt, by the way. And my last prompt, by the way, The Enchantment of Ravens was my Billy prompt. Since I have the power of doubling up, I'm going to double up Emily with my group book, which is Cemetery Boys, but I have to do a 24-hour readathon, which I think I can do with my Betty White. See what I did there? I don't know if it has to be one of these books, but... And they also had extra points for the Bone Witch if you couldn't get to the Cemetery Boys. I'm going to try to do them both. And the majority of these books are audiobooks this month, which worries me just a little bit about time, but it is faster to listen to audiobooks for me a lot of the time. I'm going to have to not watch things while I cook and just listen to books this entire month to get through all of these. So yeah, there's my 14 books. I also have books I didn't read this last month, and if you couldn't guess what they are, same ones I keep not reading, which is Artemis Fowl and Thirst, number 2. I haven't even started it. It's the 20th, or it's the 19th. It's my stepdad's birthday. He's 70 today. Happy birthday, Danny. I'll call you later. This won't be out until after his birthday. But anyways, I have a lot on my list in my TBR for this month. Only one physical book. But how many on my 20 before 2020 list? Let's look at that real quick. And this, by the way, is my 20 before 2020 list. We've got lighting from behind. So The Host is one. The Way of Shadows. Nevernight. Dark Tower. The Darkest Part of the Forest, and Girls of Paper on Fire. So I will be getting 6 books off my 20 before 2020 list if I can get through all of these. How many does that leave me with? 3? I will only have 3 after that? 4. I forgot this half one because it's 1 and 2. Holy cow. I'm about to check off a whole bunch of these this month. I hope. Again, Wilder Girls, I'm just finishing up. I'm 80% of the way through that. Moon Called, I just borrowed. Legend, I just borrowed. Truth Witch, I just borrowed. So a lot of these shits is going to be filled up by the end of October, is the hope. And of course, if I don't get to any of them, I'll just roll them over into November and December because I can do that. There ain't nobody making me do this shit but me. Anyways, I am done babbling. Let me know what you are reading in October. If you have a TBR game that you play or you do TBR videos, please link them down below for me. I would love to come watch you play your games and know what you are reading. But if you don't, list them for me. I'd love to know what you're into. I love getting new books to put on my TBR. Babbly me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Love you, nerds. Bye!